President, these OFWs do not come home to have a good time, actually. Sometimes they do not even have enough cash to pay for the ticket. They borrow money or do a cash advance. And then they come home because there is a reason. It's in times of emergency. It's either that there's a member of the family who is very sick, or someone has died, and they're just trying to come home to pay their last respects and say their last goodbyes. We have to look at the humanitarian aspect here, because I know how much you love the OFWs, who we all agree are our unsung heroes. They work abroad. They go through so much hardship in order that they may make the lives of their family a little better. And in fact, they are the single, pre-COVID, they were the single biggest dollar earner for the country. Now, while this new policy would put further strain on the OWA, because instead of paying for 2 days, this policy of Iatf requires a 10-day stay in the hotel, which means that would multiply by 5 the cost. Worst is the strain on returning Filipinos where there is no OWA. And they would have to pay, and they will not be paying the discounted rates of OWA. In Cebu, it's 1/4. But they would have to pay the standard hotel rates of 3,000 to 5,000. So 30,000 to 50,000. You know, that amount of cash can do so much to help their family, and yet they spend it in the hotel. I could see how the President really felt for the OFWs and the returning Filipinos. But he asked for Secretary Duque's opinion, and Secretary Duque started talking about variants, and it's really dangerous, and you know, even if they are tested, you know, they can still be, it can be a false negative, and then when they go home, they may be you know, there's the transmission. And I said, I'm sorry, but if you do not believe the first test, and that's RT-PCR, then why must we conduct another test on the 7th day? What makes the first day test different from the 7th day test if you do not believe that if a person is negative, that is possibly false negative? What about on the 7th day? Well, you wait for that stretch. How do we monitor these returning Filipinos? We do not have enough hotel staff. How do we know they will not have interaction with hotel staff? And if they are in fact infected, they could already cause what you are afraid of, transmission. Well, you know, Secretary Anyo said, you know, well, you are probably showing that it's working, but what if other regions will do the same and nobody will follow anymore because they will have their own way? Well, my answer to that was, shouldn't it be the other way? Like, if you see something working, wouldn't it be worth it to study it? And perhaps find out why it's working? And see if this could perhaps be applied to other regions? If you were to be very, very strict about it, we are only arguing about the hotel stay, which is a heavy financial burden and a heavy emotional burden on our both OFWs and ROFs, away from their families, especially in times of emergency, the very reason why they came home. You know, Dr. Jean Loreche came complete with her figures and showed that Cebu has been able to manage. The variant that you had first segregated as P.3, which later on they called the Central Visayas variant. We are so special to them, really. Very special. You know, in other places, it's called the UK variant, South African variant. It's called now the Indian variant. But in the entire universe, there is only one regional variant, and that's the Central Visayas variant. Because they were saying, this can be like Indian variant and all. See, Dr. Jean showed that we were more, we have been more religious in sending samples. And in the samples that were sent, there was only one that was really confirmed as a UK variant. However, we were able to show that testing upon arrival showed a 0.30 positivity. So that 0.30 were found to be positive. You see, if we were only test them in the 7th day, what would have happened? I also said, because they were insisting that it should be on the 7th day because it's the strongest, you have the highest viral load. So I just asked the very simple question. If we believe that everybody should be tested on the 7th day, are we to presume that everybody who arrives every day coming from different countries, subjected to different environment, are all to be reckoned from day one, that they could have been already infected pero day one? Because we are all counting them as day one. I said, what if someone arrived and he's already day 5? But we did not test him because we'll have to test him on the 7th day. By that time, he would have already passed his highest viral load. And he could already have been talking with the hotel staff, or for all you know, might have escaped from his hotel room to go to his family. I mean, these are just very simple questions, but they say that our science tells us that, it should be done this way. So Dr. Loreche said, because Secretary Duque emphasized to the President that, variants might be very highly transmissible and very lethal. It could be, very virulent. So it was Dr. Jean Loreche who said, viruses mutate all the time, Mr. President. That's the nature of the virus. And that is why there will always be several variants. Variants. And that it is all about being able to contain and being able to manage. In the end, the President advised Secretary Duque to study our procedure here and see if this could possibly be a good way or innovation that could be adapted. Secretary Duque at first said that, yes, we will discuss this, but or words to that effect, that our minds are made up. So the President had to repeat to study. So they were given until Thursday. At least we did all that we could. Secretary Michael Dino, in fact, because Secretary Anyo said, okay, your cases may be low in Cebu, but we have data to show that the cases in other provinces are rising because they came from Cebu. So Secretary Michael Dino had to speak up for Cebu, being a Cebuano himself. And he said, I'm sorry, I find that statement very unfair. How can you prove that? I found it illogical. Because if they came from Cebu, how come our cases are dropping? Wouldn't the more logical thing have been, our cases are rising, and so we are infecting the others? But, well, it gets more and more confusing over there. I think si Senator Bongo, and I have to say this, he really spoke up for the Cebuanos and the ROFs and OFWs. So we have to thank Senator Bongo. He said that, I've been to Cebu, Mr. Mayor, he calls the President Mayor. I've been to Cebu together with E.S. Medialdia. Cebu is doing good, doing fine. We can see that how they are facing this crisis is in a way that they are able to manage and able to, in fact, open the economy now and tourism. So, and I also know what a heavy burden this is for our OFWs and ROFs, because I get all of these calls asking for help. See, Senator Bongo. So he spoke up for this, and maybe he said it's really worth studying how Cebu is doing it. I could see that the president's heart was really for the OFWs and ROFs. I mean, he's a very sincere person, so I could see that. He also understood the duty that all local chief executives face, the accountability to the people that we carry every day.